And he's going to go into the 144,000 witnesses. And let's continue.
It's all going to come because of this group of men called the 144,000 witnesses. Now, the Bible tells us in Revelation 7 and in Revelation 14 that there are going to be 144,000 witnesses selected from the 12 tribes of Israel. Revelation 7:4, I heard the number of those who were sealed. 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel were sealed.
Okay, let's take a look at that. And so what he's saying, that it's a Jewish prophecy, number one, after they're raptured, which is never going to happen, because the resurrection happens when Jesus returns, and nobody's going to be resurrected 7 years before he returns. That's not in the Bible anywhere. It's a total construct that was made up by a Jesuit priest back in the 16th century. Okay? And it's been built upon over the years, and things have been added to it. Well, I think, yeah, the part about the pre-tribulation rapture was added in the 19th century to the end-time Antichrist scenario made up by Francisco Ribera. So anyway, let's look at Revelation 7:4, and let's look at exactly what text he's referring to there. Revelation 7:4. And after these things, I like to read things in context, so I'm not going to just go to the verse. Okay, and after these things I saw 4 angels standing in the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, or any tree. Okay, so here we have these angels are holding back judgments that God is about to pour onto the earth. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the God, who cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their forehead. Okay, who are the servants of God in the New Testament era? Yeah, you're learning. The church. So when we see these Jewish symbols, like of the tribes, and these aren't even the same tribes. The tribes are a little bit different, kind of letting you know that it's not really a Jewish prophecy, okay? But this is something from the past, because these judgments have already passed into history. But this is the sealing of the church over the whole earth from the judgments, so that they would be sealed during those periods of judgments that were going to be poured on the earth in the time that was being held back at this point in history. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly when this prophecy was fulfilled and what the judgments were, but the thing is, these are symbols that are being used. And yes, it is symbolic of the church, because as we know in the New Testament era, the servants of God represent the church, not Jews. So whatever these 12 tribes are would represent the counterpart in the church. And if you're really interested in finding out how prophecy was fulfilled already in history, and this part here was already fulfilled in history, I would say to you that you should go to Horae Apocalypticae .wordpress.com. Okay, that's this right here. And I would go to, let's look at Contents Volume 1. And what do we find here? We find the seals. So I would say that the era we're speaking of here, because he's holding back the trumpet judgments that are to come. So that would likely be in Volume 2, Retrospective View of Christ's Witnesses. And I guess I should have looked this up in beforehand. Commencement of the Reformation. No, I think it might be in Volume 1. So, Appendix, let me see. Oh, I'm still in Volume 2. But anyway, you can find it here. The first seal, here's the seals, the half hour in silence. Okay, yeah, this would be in volume 1. You will learn about the half hour silence in heaven and chapter 7 of the Revelation and all those trumpet judgments that were pending at that time and how they fit in to history. See, all of these judgments, which the Revelation explicitly said in 95 AD, would shortly come to pass as to the commencement. So if the trumpet judgments come after the seal judgments, the seal judgments have to come first. And when we read in chapter 7 here, okay, that after these things, he says, I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and cried with a loud voice, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. Okay, these are judgments, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. So that God's people know whatever judgments come on the earth, they will be tribulation to them, but not judgment. Okay? Because God is continually, especially if you read the Old Testament about national Israel, you'll see that God continually brought judgment upon national Israel because of their disobedience. Well, remember, it's the same God in the New Testament era, continually bringing temporal judgments on the earth because of the disobedience of the people, and especially we know that judgment begins at the house of God, and that's why when Rome became a Christian empire, with Constantine, and apostatized within 100 years, that God immediately brought the barbarians from the north and broke up the Roman Empire into 10 kingdoms, those 10 horn divisions. And then it said at that same time that the Antichrist would be revealed. Okay? And he was, and he ruled for 1260 years. So the answers are there. Horae Apocalypticae.wordpress.com, Volume 1. You can read about the trumpet judgments and the seal trumpets, then the trumpet judgments, which begin in chapter 7 of the Revelation, and how they have already been fulfilled in history. They are not reserved for the last 7 years. Because what's God been doing for the last 2,000 years? And why didn't he write any prophecy about it if the whole of the Revelation is about the last 7 years? What, this is like the only history God would leave out of the entire book? I mean, if you read the Old Testament, it's history from the beginning. In the beginning, God created. So we have the history of the creation. We have the history of the pre-flood era. It's all in the book. We have what happened after the flood. We have the rise of national Israel as God's chosen people being brought out of Egypt. We have no era of history is left out of God's word, unless you believe the new false prophets of the age. Okay? And the new false prophets of the age say, God left out everything from the time of the Gospels until 7 years before he returns. All left out of the Bible. The only era that is left out of the Bible. Now that is not right, and it is not consistent, simply because it is not true. It is a lie. And whether these liars know they're lying, I hope for their own sake that they don't know they're lying. So that means that they are deceived. And they are deceived. Because I can easily overthrow some things. Other things are a little more difficult to overthrow, that they say, because it takes study and time to understand these things. But we have an excellent historical account of relating prophecy to history, and if you take the time to go through it, if you really want to understand the truth, and you just don't want to stick your fingers in your ears and go la 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 la, I can't hear a thing you're saying, I don't want to, I would rather be ignorant. Because, when you purposely ignore something, that makes you ignorant on purpose. If you say, no, I'm not going to look at that, I just want to continue to believe what I've been taught. Because look at these guys. Look at how they're dressed. Look at all the money they have. Look at the crowds following them. They are the number one prophecy experts in the earth. And Nicklas, you are nobody. You can't even get in the top 100. You might as well be with Jeremiah in that pit in the middle of the town. Nobody can hear your voice. You're yelling up, and the only people can hear you are the ones that perhaps are standing on the grate in the middle of the town, right on top of the pit that you're in. But they would rather watch this show.